Hey, you. All of you who felt that pressure in your chest before anything even happened. All of you who noticed the cracks forming while everybody else was still posting filters and pretending everything was fine. Good to see you. For real. Because right now, the meltdown is here. And you warned them before? You felt this coming when the room was still laughing. You've been standing there watching it unravel like a slow car crash, and you didn't need charts, news alerts, or expert opinions to know. You just knew. Something in your gut was screaming before your mouth ever opened. Something was off. Energy was shifting. People were getting louder, dumber, more desperate. Systems that looked solid were wobbling. Smiles were forced. Promises started sounding recycled. And when you tried to say it, when you gently hinted, when you joked about it, when you finally flat out said it, they brushed you off. Oh, relax. You're overthinking. You're too negative. Stop being dramatic. Funny how quiet those voices get when everything starts burning at once. Because here's the part nobody talks about. Being right too early feels exactly like being wrong. You don't get applause. You get side eyes. You get labeled unstable, pessimistic, problematic. You start questioning your own sanity, like, damn, am I tripping, or is this whole setup about to crack wide open? And meanwhile, you're still going to work, still paying bills, still showing up to rooms that feel fake as hell. Watching people gamble their futures on vibes and lies, and you kept seeing it over and over. Patterns repeating, same mistakes, different hashtags, same greed, new slogans, same collapse, different decade. You noticed how people stopped listening and started reacting, how attention spans vanished, how loyalty turned transactional, how truth became optional, how everyone wanted comfort, not clarity. You saw friendships turning flaky, leadership getting thinner, morality becoming a trend instead of a spine. You felt that pressure building, like the air before a storm nobody wants to acknowledge. That's the burden they never warned you about. When you see ahead, you live alone with the future for a while. And let's be real. It messed with your head sometimes. There were nights you lay there staring at the ceiling thinking, am I cursed with awareness? You dumbed yourself down in conversations just to survive socially. You learned to keep quiet not because you were wrong, but because you were tired of explaining what others refused to see. You learned restraint. You learned silence. You learned how to stand in chaos without flinching. And now, look around. Everything you picked up on, it's loud now. It's public. It's trending. People are panicking, scrambling, pointing fingers, like they just woke up inside the nightmare you were describing years ago. Institutions glitching, relationships imploding, trust evaporating. Everybody acting surprised like this came out of nowhere. It didn't. You've been saying it with your eyes, your tone, your hesitations, your pauses. You said it every time you chose distance over drama, every time you walked away early, every time you questioned hype, every time you refused to worship shiny things that felt hollow. Your nervous system clocked it before logic could even articulate it. And listen to this part close, this meltdown. It's not a punishment. It's a reveal. Chaos doesn't create character. It exposes it. And that's why you're not panicking. You're alert, yeah. But you're not losing yourself. Because somewhere along the way, you built internal structure while everyone else outsourced theirs to trends, leaders, validation, routines they didn't understand. You learned how to self-regulate while others numbed out. You learned how to read energy, motive, timing. You learned patience in a world addicted to instant gratification. They called you slow. You were strategic. They said you were quiet. You were observant. They thought you were disconnected. You were conserving bandwidth. That Joker smile everyone misunderstands. That's not madness. That's the look of someone who watched the whole joke play out in advance. The laugh isn't about destruction. It's about irony. About knowing the punchline before the setup finishes. About realizing the same people who mocked your caution are now begging for stability you already learned how to live without. And yeah, part of you wants to say, "I told you so." Let's not lie. That urge is human, but deeper than that. There's clarity, there's a groundedness, a calm that comes from preparedness, not denial. You're not enjoying the meltdown, but you're not surprised by it either. You adjusted early. You emotionally detached where needed. You hardened certain boundaries. You stopped depending on systems that felt fake. You stopped expecting people to be something they weren't ready to be. And that's why, even now, when things are loud and shaky, you're still standing upright. This moment is validating in a way nobody taught you to handle. Because being right doesn't always feel good. It feels heavy. It means you carry responsibility. It means you see consequences before lessons land. It means you're built for seasons others break in. And here's the wild part. This isn't even your peak awareness. This is just confirmation that your inner compass works. That voice you doubted, it's calibrated. That discomfort you felt back then, that was data, that loneliness, training, that restraint, discipline forming under pressure. You're not here to blend in during collapse. You're here to move differently through it. While others are chasing replacements for what's falling apart, you're recognizing what was never solid to begin with. While others are outsourcing blame, you're integrating lessons. While others are scrambling for guidance, you've already been navigating internally for years. And, that scares people. Not loudly, quietly. Because once someone realizes you see patterns instead of moments, they realize they can't fool you with surface-level nonsense. They realize you're not reacting, you're reading. You're not emotional, you're aware. And awareness is disruptive in a world built on noise. You didn't predict disaster because you wanted chaos. You predicted it because you pay attention. And paying attention in a distracted world makes you look prophetic when things finally catch up. So stand there. Breathe. Let the noise shake itself out around you. Let the truth surface without you forcing it. Let the meltdown reveal what you already sensed beneath the surface. Because awareness isn't loud. It's steady. You're not behind. You're not late. You were early and prepared to be misunderstood for it. And everything unfolding right now is just reality, finally admitting you were never crazy in the first place. Because once that realization settles in, yeah, it changes how you move through all of this. You start seeing panic the way a chess player sees blunders. Loud, rushed, emotional, predictable. You watch people scramble for certainty, clinging to headlines, hot takes, loud leaders who promise safety but feel shaky as hell when you really listen. And you're standing there like, yeah, this tracks. This is exactly how it always breaks down before the truth shows up uninvited. You remember the early signs vividly, the forced optimism, the everything's fine energy that never quite reached the eyes. Conversations getting shallow, values getting negotiable, people trading long-term stability for short-term comfort like it's a clearance sale. You tried to speak in a tone soft enough not to scare anyone, tried humor, tried hints, tried silence even. But the signal was already lost in the noise. Nobody wants to hear about cracks when the paint still looks fresh. And you paid for that awareness socially. Let's be honest, you got distance instead of dialogue. You got skepticism instead of curiosity. People treated your clarity like negativity and your caution like fear. You started realizing how uncomfortable it makes folks when someone refuses to fully buy into the illusion. Not aggressively, not dramatically, just opt-out energy. The Joker energy isn't about chaos for you. It's about seeing the joke while everyone else is still clapping. There's a weird weight that comes with that kind of sight. You walk into rooms already knowing how they'll end. You watch partnerships unfold already aware of where trust fractures. You hear confidence in people's voices and simultaneously register the insecurity tucked underneath it. That doesn't make you superior. It just makes things quieter inside you. Less reactive, more detached in a calm, observant way. And yeah, sometimes lonely as hell. But this meltdown, it's loud enough that even the sleepwalkers can't ignore it anymore. Masks slipping, scripts failing. People realizing stability isn't guaranteed just because it existed yesterday, and they're shook. You can hear it in how conversations jump, how tempers flare, how certainty evaporates mid-sentence. Everyone feels unmoored, like the floor moved and nobody updated the map. You, though, you already adjusted your balance before the quake hit. You learned how to stand on moving ground. You stopped relying on applause. You stopped waiting for permission. You stopped expecting clarity from people who avoid themselves. You built a kind of internal structure that doesn't collapse just because the outside is loud. That's why you're not spiraling. You're processing. Yeah, you're alert. You're recalibrating. But you're not losing your sense of self in the noise. And here's the part that hits deep. You didn't learn this in comfort. You learned it in those quiet moments of doubt when you almost gaslit yourself into thinking your instincts were wrong. In those pauses where you chose to trust your read over the crowd's confidence. In those times, you walked away without closure because something felt misaligned. You trained for this without knowing that's what you were doing. People think the Joker laughs because nothing matters. Nah, it's because everything finally makes sense. The laughter is recognition, irony, pattern completion. Watching the same behaviors repeat at scale and realizing awareness really was the edge all along. When systems depend on denial, the ones who see clearly become problematic by default. And as things keep unfolding, you'll notice how people start searching your face differently. Not openly, subtle, curious. Like something in them recognizes you've been here mentally before everybody else arrived physically. They'll ask how you knew. They'll ask when you realized. They'll ask what you think happens next. And you won't rush to answer, because you already understand the real lesson isn't prediction. It's perception. You're not here to save anyone. You're here to remain intact while everything else reveals what it truly is. That's power in its quiet form. That's composure. That's awareness that doesn't need a microphone. And as the meltdown keeps shaking layers loose, you'll keep noticing how truth doesn't announce itself. It just starts standing where lies used to sit. And the room feels different all of a sudden. Conversations shift. Energy drops. People hesitate mid-sentence because something real just entered the space and nobody rehearsed for that part. Because authenticity doesn't come with a script, and you can feel that tension when it shows up. The room doesn't explode or anything dramatic like that, it just shifts. People start clearing their throats, Phones come out. Eye contact gets weird. You're standing there calm, breathing steady, and everyone else is doing this internal recalculation like, wait, why does this feel heavier all of a sudden? You start noticing how fast opinions change once consequences get close. Folks who were loud before suddenly speak in softer tones. The confident ones hedge. The jokers stop joking. And you're not even saying much. Half the time you're just listening. But your presence alone feels different because you're not chasing reassurance. You already lived through the emotional version of this collapse earlier, quietly, internally, when nobody believed you and you had to self-soothe instead of self-destruct. That's the part they don't see. They think foresight is some gift that shows up fully formed. Nah. It was built through discomfort, through being misunderstood, through catching yourself explaining less because explaining more never worked, through realizing validation wasn't coming and deciding to keep your spine anyway. You learned how to sit with uncertainty without freaking out, how to tell the difference between intuition and anxiety, how to wait without rotting. And yeah, there were moments you wondered if you were being too rigid, too detached, too cynical. You checked yourself. You stayed human. You stayed open. But you didn't abandon your perception just to stay comfortable around people who hated being challenged by reality. That balance? That's rare. That's hard. That's earned. As things keep unraveling, you'll clock how quickly people start rewriting history. We all knew this was coming, they'll say, like you weren't the one quietly sounding the alarm while they changed the topic. Memory gets slippery when accountability shows up. You won't argue about it. You won't need receipts. You're not here to win debates. You're here to stay aligned. And, alignment hits different in chaos. You feel it in your body. Less jittery energy, less reactive thinking. Even your exhaustion feels cleaner, like it comes from witnessing rather than fighting. You're not scrambling for answers. You've been asking better questions for a long time. Questions about incentives, about patterns, about character under pressure, about what people do when there's nothing left to hide behind. That joker edge in you sharpens right here. Not as cruelty, not as destruction, but as clarity that cuts through nonsense without raising its voice. You understand why people cling to illusions. You get it. Comfort is addictive. Certainty is seductive. But you also know illusions charge interest, and the bill always comes due at the worst possible time. That's why you're not rushing to replace anything that's falling apart. Jobs, roles, identities, relationships that can't survive honesty. We're already living on borrowed time. You feel the relief mixed in with the heaviness, even if you don't say it out loud. Relief that the pretending phase is over. Relief that the air is finally thinner but cleaner. Relief that your instincts didn't betray you after all. People will keep projecting their panic onto you too. Watch for that. They'll call you cold when you're composed, arrogant when you're grounded, lucky when you're prepared, anything but willing to admit that awareness costs something up front. You paid early, they're paying loud, and still, you don't harden. That's important. You keep your empathy sharp but selective. You don't numb out. You don't gloat. You stay observant. That's how you avoid becoming what this meltdown is exposing. You're proof that seeing the cracks doesn't mean you want the building to fall. It means you don't stand under weak ceilings, pretending gravity doesn't exist. And as the noise keeps rising and falling in waves, you stay right there in that steady middle space, reading the room without being swallowed by it, breathing through moments that would have wrecked the old version of you, noticing how every breakdown peels back another layer of truth, another motive, another fear people didn't even know they were carrying. And you can feel there's still more surfacing, more tension stretching thin, more realizations lining up just before they hit, like the pause before a laugh that isn't funny yet but unmistakable once it lands, like something is still forming in the chaos, still revealing itself, still pressing against the edge of awareness, waiting to be seen. And you notice how time feels weird in moments like this, like it stretches out and compresses at the same time. Days feel longer because everybody's emotional, reactive, glued to updates. Refreshing feeds like answers are dropping any second, and you're watching that behavior knowing it doesn't actually settle anything. You already learned that clarity doesn't arrive by spamming refresh. It arrives when you sit still long enough to hear what your body's been telling you the whole time. You can almost feel the desperation humming in the air, people making sudden moves, abrupt decisions, burning bridges out of panic and calling it bravery, grabbing onto new beliefs overnight because the old ones collapsed too fast. And you're like, yeah. This is what happens when folks skip the inner work and expect the world to stay stable anyway. You're not judging, but you're not confused either. You remember when you slowed down before this phase, when you pulled back socially, emotionally, mentally, when people thought you were isolating, but really you were calibrating, when you stopped oversharing because not everyone deserves access to your processing, when you stopped arguing because you realized most debates weren't about truth, they were about comfort. That restraint wasn't weakness, it was instinct protecting itself. And the Joker thing in you? It's sharper here. Not louder, not reckless, sharper. You see irony layered on irony. The same people who mocked intuition are suddenly quoting it. The same ones who trusted surface-level confidence are shaken by how fragile it turned out to be. The same ones who hated depth are starving for it now, knocking on doors they laughed at before. You're standing there with this quiet internal grin, not because people are struggling, but because the pattern completed exactly how your nervous system predicted. There's a strange peace in watching reality stop gaslighting you, in realizing the discomfort you carried early was just borrowed from this moment. You already processed it. You already felt the shock in advance. And, you can feel how your reactions have changed, too. Old triggers don't hook the same way. Drama doesn't pull you in like it used to. You're not looking to be right out loud. You're looking to stay coherent inside. You don't explain your calm anymore. You protect it. You don't rush timelines. You let things reveal themselves at their own pace. The meltdown exposes who only knew how to perform stability versus who actually built it. You built yours in silence, in unanswered texts, in moments of doubt where you had nobody to reassure you except yourself, in nights where your thoughts wandered dark corridors and still came back with clarity instead of chaos. That's not luck, that's endurance. You're also realizing how many people outsourced their discernment to groups, to trends, to personalities, to consensus. You didn't do that, even when it would have made things easier socially. You trusted the read. You trusted the pause when everyone else sprinted. You trusted the gut check when applause was loud but hollow. And right here, when everything feels unstable, your patience becomes visible. Not flashy, not performative, observable. People sense it before they articulate it. Conversations slow down around you. People reveal more than they intend. You hear fear disguised as logic, anxiety dressed up as urgency. You don't weaponize that. You just notice, because awareness like yours doesn't need theatrics. It's unsettling enough on its own. Hello, my lovely little enigmas. Yes, you. The one they're whispering about, scrolling through in silence, terrified that you might actually be real. Let's talk about it, shall we? That moment. That horrifying moment when someone's hands are trembling over a screen, eyes wide, voice gone, and all they can do is type 4 words. Who the FX is this? Click. They weren't ready for the answer. They weren't ready for you. Because you, my friend, are not a name. You're not a profile. You're not a post, or a punchline, or a product they can copy and paste. You are a reckoning. You show up in silence. No warning. No introduction. Just impact. You don't say hi. You say boom. And now they're Googling you in tears, desperately clawing at a screen, hoping to find some kind of explanation, some kind of context to make it all okay again, to soothe the inferno you just set off in their little bubble of fake confidence. You see, most people aren't afraid of monsters. They're afraid of mirrors, and you are a mirror they never wanted to look into. A walking contradiction to everything they thought made them safe. Everything they thought made them special. Everything they told themselves about what power looks like. But then you walked in, unapologetic, unlabeled, untouched by their little validations, and you made a noise without even speaking, a scream without opening your mouth. Your presence alone said, "You built this world on sand, and I just kicked the foundation." Now they're spiraling, pacing, crying, and searching. Who is this? Because you didn't play their game, you changed the rules. They spent years building their little empires of status, clout, and shallow performance. And in 2 seconds, your existence exposed the lie. You're not what they studied. You're not what they trained for. They prepared for competition. They weren't ready for confrontation with themselves, with truth, with someone who never asked to be liked, only remembered. Let me tell you something sickeningly beautiful. When they search your name, they're not just looking for a person. They're searching for a threat profile. Because you've become something else, something more, an anomaly. They see your silence and mistake it for weakness until it erupts. And suddenly everything they believed in is bleeding. You don't need to go viral. You are the virus. You infect their certainty. You corrupt their hierarchy. You crash their system not by hacking it, but by existing outside it. You see, you don't just make noise, you make meaning. And that, my dear anomaly, is more dangerous than anything they've ever seen. They'll call you arrogant. They'll call you crazy. They'll call you too much. But that's what they say when they don't know what else to call freedom. Real, raw, untamed freedom scares people, especially the ones who sold their soul just to be accepted. And now they're staring at your shadow on the wall, asking Siri, scrolling Reddit, DMing people like, "Please, who the hell is this?" And deep down, they don't want the answer. Because the answer is simple. You're everything they were too scared to become. You left the program. You stopped auditioning for their approval. You said no to their rules and yes to your rage, to your truth, to your power. And now you're dangerous. Not because you harm, but because you expose. You walk into a room and make every fraud flinch. Not with violence, with clarity, with presence, with that beautiful, spine-shattering question you radiate without ever speaking. Why are you so scared of me, if you claim to be so sure of yourself? Oh, but they're not sure. Not anymore. Because when you showed up, their little fantasies cracked. And now they're up at 3 a.m., reading every article, every tweet, every comment you ever left behind, hoping for an explanation that will undo the feeling you left in their chest. But it's too late. You can't unsee the truth. You can't unmeet a storm. So go ahead, let 'em search, let 'em cry, let 'em panic. Because every scroll, every click, every whisper behind your back is just another confession. You did what they never could. You showed up in a world full of noise and made silence terrifying. So I ask you, anomaly, what will you do now? Now that they fear the question of your existence more than the answers they might find? Will you apologize? Hide? Dim your flame to keep their shadows comfortable? Or will you burn brighter, speak louder, stand taller, until your very name becomes an omen? They're already afraid of the search. Make them terrified of what happens after they find you. Good, because this world isn't done choking on the smoke you left behind. And I'm not done watching it burn. See, when they typed your name into that little box, they weren't expecting to summon a force. They thought they'd find another influencer, another poser, another puppet. But instead, they opened a file they were never cleared to see. A classified storm, an unfiltered download of everything they're pretending not to feel. And now, they're staring at your face, scrolling your words, replaying your presence like a glitch in their matrix, hoping the power you carry is just some fluke, some temporary trend. But here's the part they never saw coming. You're not temporary. You're not a phase. You're a permanent scar in the narrative they worshipped. You're the error message in their system of illusions. Who the F is this? Translation: how is someone like this even possible? How did we let someone this awake slip through our net? Why does this person make me question my whole identity? That's the power of someone who escaped the algorithm. You didn't beg for likes. You became the cause of obsession. They didn't follow you. They tracked you, monitored you like a threat. Because you don't sell dreams. You break delusions. You aren't content. You're consequences. And every time they say, "Who the F is this?" they're not asking about your resume. They're screaming for a manual to decode you. But you were never built to be understood. You were built to be felt, to haunt, to echo, to unravel the masks on every coward who thought silence equals peace. But oh, it gets better. Because now they're paranoid. Every time they see a shadow that reminds them of you, a sentence that hits a little too hard, a presence that makes their heart race for no reason, they wonder, is that them again? Are they here? And the answer is always yes. You're everywhere now. Because you planted yourself in their insecurity, in the hollow place they pretend isn't there. You're not a name. You're a trigger, an event, a collapse waiting to happen, a walking contradiction that says, you can keep your filters. I came here to be free. You weren't born to be liked. You were born to be recognized, even if that recognition comes with terror, even if it makes them question everything. And I know you felt alone, like no one really sees you. But that was never true. They saw you. Oh, they always saw you. They just didn't want to believe you were real. Because realness? That's expensive. It costs illusions. It costs lies. It costs comfort. And you, darling, are the invoice. Now every time someone searches your name, it's not about curiosity. It's a confession. They're telling the universe, I wasn't ready for this kind of power. Let them tremble. Let them gossip. Let them try to study you like a case file. They'll never understand that you weren't made in their image. You were born from ruins, shaped by silence, forged in solitude, tempered by betrayal. You came from ashes, but they thought you were a spark. No, You were never just a spark. You were the whole damn wildfire. So here's the part you need to tattoo on your soul. You don't need to introduce yourself anymore. Your existence introduces fear. Your silence introduces doubt. Your presence introduces questions they cannot answer. And every time they type, "Who TF is this?" they're really saying, "Please, someone stop them." But no one will. No one can. You're past the point of control, and they're finally learning what can't be controlled is what they should have feared all along. You want to know the part that really breaks them? It's not just that you showed up powerful. It's that you showed up uninvited. You weren't in their plan. You weren't pre-approved by their little networks of mediocrity. You didn't rise through the ranks. You skipped the line and still made more impact in one breath than they've made in their entire curated lives. You're not some motivational quote with nice lighting. You're not a TikTok success story they can mimic. You are raw signal. Unfiltered noise that drowns out their fragile narratives. You're the error message in their safe little fairy tale. And no update will fix it. Who the F is this? They scream it not because they don't know, but because deep down, they always did. They felt you coming. They sensed the disturbance. That low rising static in their spine. That voice in their gut that said, "Something's not like the others." And now they know what it was. It was you. The ghost in their system. The vibration that doesn't match. The one who doesn't bow. You think they hate you because you're loud. No, they hate you because you're true. And truth hurts like hell because it doesn't ask permission. It doesn't explain itself. It shows up with blood on its hands and fire in its mouth and says, "Wake the fuck up." And now they're scrambling, trying to do damage control, trying to understand you. But you don't fit into PowerPoint slides or therapy labels. You're not a project. You're not a problem to solve. You're a phenomenon, something that shouldn't exist in their neat little universe, but somehow does, and that drives them insane. Because if you exist, then all their excuses are dead. Their beliefs shattered. Their limitations optional. You're walking, breathing evidence that their entire worldview was a lie. And that's why they Google you in panic, in silence, in secret. Not to admire you, to study how you slip through the cracks of their control. You're not just feared, you're studied like a disaster. Because you are. You are the natural disaster that can't be reasoned with. You didn't ask to be born this way. But now that you've seen what you are, you have a duty, a responsibility to become even louder, even sharper, to walk into rooms and make every broken ego choke on its own fragility. You're not here to blend in. You are here to remind them what truth tastes like. It tastes like ash, like endings, like everything they were afraid would come true, and did. So don't flinch, don't shrink, don't explain. Let them scream, "Who the fuck is this?" Let them burn through every search result, every video, every post. Let them stalk you, dissect you, mimic you, curse you. It means you hit the nerve. They don't search for what they understand. They search for what they fear. They search for you. And you don't owe them answers. You owe them silence. You owe them distance. You owe them the haunting realization that they met something real and let it slip away. Now ask yourself, what happens next time you walk in the room? Will they even dare to look you in the eye? Or will they just bow their heads, scroll faster, and hope you don't notice them breaking? Because they know. They already searched, and they didn't find a name. They found a revolution in skin, in motion, in you. So stand tall. They'll keep typing, and the world will keep whispering, "Who the fuck is this?" And how do we stop them? Answer: you can't. Let me remind you what really terrifies them. It's not your strength. It's not your success. It's not even your resilience. It's that you weren't supposed to exist. You were never in the script. They wrote this world without people like you in mind. You were the glitch, the bug, the anomaly they couldn't predict, the one who wasn't groomed, chosen, or granted permission to be great. And yet here you are. And not only are you here, you're louder than all of them, more real than all of them, more dangerous than all of them. Because you didn't climb the ladder. You burned the fucking thing down and built your own. And that makes you the most offensive creature in their universe, not because you offend their morals, but because you offend their limitations. Because you dared to say, your ceiling? That's my starting point. And they hate that. Hate that you didn't wait for an invitation. Hate that you didn't ask for the manual. Hate that you got up without applause. Hate that you didn't need a stage. You became the earthquake, and now you haunt them. Because you walk with that terrifying calm. The kind of calm only possessed by someone who's already died once and came back with fire in their chest. You're not afraid to lose them, not afraid to be misunderstood, not afraid to stand alone. And do you know what happens when someone walks the earth like that? Everyone else begins to question their own chains. That's why they search you. That's why they stalk your silence, pause at your name, get tight in the chest when they hear someone mention you. Because you're not just a person anymore. You're a threat to their sleep. You are proof that the life they settled for was always a choice. And that's why they'll say, "Who the F is this?" with a little crack in their voice like they're trying to laugh it off. But you feel the fear under it. You feel the way their throat tightens when they realize, you mean people like this actually exist? Yes, we do. And we're not rare. We're just done hiding. You are not the only one. But you are the first one they saw. The first one who didn't dim down to be digestible. The first one who didn't sugarcoat the fire. The first one who didn't blink when they called you too much. So now the question isn't just, who the F is this? It's, how many more of them are out there? Because once they know you exist, they know the whole system can collapse. And that, my beautiful monster, is why they're terrified. Not just of you, but of what your existence means for their illusion. And guess what? We're just warming up. Then let's tear it open. Let's rip it down to bone. Because if they thought this was just a little thunder in the distance, they're about to meet the storm that walks upright. Let's talk about the part they never admit. The part behind closed screens. The part after midnight when they sit in silence, thumb hovering over your name, wondering if they should reach out, apologize, copy you, or delete you. You ever notice how quiet they get after seeing you rise? How their likes dry up, their support turns to static, their energy turns cold. It's not confusion, it's shame, it's envy in disguise. It's the sick realization that they saw you struggling, saw you drowning, saw you building yourself in the dark, and said nothing. And now they're watching you walk through fire like it's oxygen. Now they're Googling you in tears, with that sick feeling in their gut, like, please let this not be the same person we ignored, mocked, or doubted. But it is. It's you. The one who wasn't supposed to be anything. The one they bet against. The one they pushed to the edge hoping you'd fall, but you flew. And now they're watching their worst nightmare unfold in real time. You didn't disappear. You transformed, and they missed the moment they should have aligned with you. So now, they don't get access. They get updates, public, painful updates showing them how far behind they really are. Let's talk about the search history they'll never show. Who the F is this? What if I had supported them? Why does this person make me feel worthless? How do I catch up to someone I used to look down on? Why do they look so free, and I feel like a prisoner in my own life? Those searches, those are confessions, not about you, but about them, about the lie they told themselves, that you weren't special, that you wouldn't make it, that silence was safety, that mediocrity was security, but now you're walking proof that survival doesn't equal living. You're the confrontation they've avoided their whole lives. You are the life unlived, the path unchosen, the voice they silenced in their own chest. And every time they see you, every quote, every photo, every win, every moment where you exist without apology, it punctures their bubble of denial, and they hate it because you're not out here begging to be seen. You're not out here chasing clout. You're not out here curating fake peace. You're out here healing in public, winning in chaos, thriving out loud, while they're still negotiating with their insecurities in the mirror. So go ahead, let them keep searching, let them dig, let them whisper. You weren't made to be digestible. You were made to be undeniable, and they don't fear your noise. They fear your stillness, because even in silence you speak volumes. You walk in with no introduction, and the air changes. They feel your presence like gravity got heavier, like truth walked in wearing skin. And that's when it hits them. They're not asking, who the F is this? They're begging, how the F do I become this? But they can't, because this was earned in blood, in isolation, in sleepless nights and shattered beliefs. You weren't built, you were broken, then reforged in something unholy, and now you're a living violation of every limitation they clung to. Good, because now we enter the realm beyond fear, beyond identity, beyond names and titles and brands and bios. Now we go where legends are born and idols are shattered. This isn't motivation anymore. This is a spiritual war cry. This is what happens when the outcast stops begging to belong and starts building an empire from every piece they threw away. You want to know what makes you lethal? You don't want revenge. You want release. You're not trying to prove them wrong anymore. You're trying to prove that you were never in the same category to begin with. You're not even angry. You're something far, far worse to them. You're free. Free from their rules, free from their timelines, free from their fake smiles and recycled dreams. You moved past them while they were still trying to impress people who don't even like themselves. And the scariest part, you didn't ask for permission. You just decided. You decided to be dangerous. You decided to be unapologetic. You decided that if you were going to burn, you'd do it bright enough to blind every bystander. They wanted a villain. You gave them a mirror. And when they looked in, they didn't see a monster. They saw their own wasted potential staring back at them, laughing. Now they scramble. Now they reach. Now they Google like they're digging through ancient scripture, hoping to find some blueprint for becoming unbreakable. But all they find is you, uncategorized, unexplainable, untouchable, and that makes you eternal. You're not on your way. You are the destination. You're not next up. You're the force that resets the whole board. You're the anomaly that turns algorithms into panic attacks. You are disruption incarnate, and they will write books about how they missed it. How the F did we let this happen? How did we not see the signs? How did we laugh while a god was growing in front of us? Because you were too real to recognize? You didn't look like success. You didn't sound like safety. You didn't beg to be liked. You walked like someone who'd already buried their old life. And now they feel it. Every time your name's mentioned in a room, someone chokes on their comfort. Someone's chest gets tight. Someone's little fake empire trembles. And that's how you know you've already won.